Bhagavad Gita ki jai, Prabhupada ki jai. So repeat after me. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Reading from Bhagavad Gita as it is, chapter 10, verse 17. Katham vidyamaham yogim
Katham vidyamaham yogim
Svam sada parichintayan
Mam sada parichintayan
Keshu keshu cha bhaveshu
Keshu keshu cha bhaveshu
Chintyosi bhagavan maya
Chintyosi bhagavan maya
Katham vidyamaham yogim
Katham vidyamaham yogim
Svam sada parichintayan
Mam sada parichintayan
keshu keshu cha bhaveshu
Keshu keshu cha bhaveshu
chintyosi bhagavan maya.
Chintyosi bhagavan maya.
Please chant.
Katham vidyamaham yogim
Katham vidyamaham yogim
Vam sada parichintayan
Vam sada parichintayan
Keshu keshu cha bhaveshu
Keshu keshu cha bhaveshu
Chintyosi bhagavan maya
Chintyosi bhagavan maya.
कथां विद्यामहं योगिं
Katham vidyamaham yogim
सदा परिचिन्तयन्
Mam sada parichintayan
केषु केषु च भावेषु
Keshu keshu cha bhaveshu
चिन्तोऽसि भगवान् मया
Chintyosi bhagavan maya. Katham vidyamaham yogim Vam sada parichintayan Keshu keshu cha bhaveshu Chintyosi bhagavan maya.
This is the 10th chapter. Does anybody know what the 10th chapter is called? Opulence of the Absolute. And this 10th chapter also contains some very key verses, which are known as Chaturshloki Bhagavad Gita. And this particular verse comes before or after? After, right? Okay, so this is actually, who's speaking in this verse? Anyone know?
Arjun.
Arjun, right? And it's a question, Katham. Right? Arjun asks questions all the time and Krishna answers them. Katham means how. Right? In the second chapter, Arjun also asks a similar question. Katham bhishmam aham sankhye dronam cha madhusudana itshubhi pratiyosyami puja bhavari sudana. How can I fight those who worship people like Bhishma? Katham bhishmam aham sankhye. Same kind of meter, same kind of pattern. But now this discussion has gone so far along, using the same meter, but he's asking much higher questions now. Katham vidyam aham yogims. Who is yogim in this verse? Yogin. He's asking the yogi. Krishna. Krishna is referred to as a yogi in this. It's interesting. It's pretty cool. So let's see what that's about. Yeah? Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki
Jai.
O Krishna, O Supreme Mystic. So that's where the yogi comes in. The Supreme Yogi, Supreme Mystic. How shall I constantly think of you, and how shall I know you? In what various forms are you to be remembered, O Supreme Personality of Godhead? You know, Krishna has told Arjuna, you think of me. You worship me like that, right? And it's a repeated theme in the Bhagavad Gita. So Arjuna asks, Keshu Keshu cha bhaveshu. What are the different ways I can think of you? Purport. As it is stated in the previous chapter, the Supreme Personality of Godhead is covered by His Yoga Maya. Only surrendered souls and devotees can see Him. Now Arjuna is convinced that his friend Krishna is the Supreme Godhead. But he wants to know the general process by which the all-pervading Lord can be understood by the common man. The common man. This is important to understand this point. Common men, including the demons and atheists, cannot know Krishna because he is guarded by his Yoga Maya energy. Again, these questions are asked by Arjuna for their benefit. The superior devotee is concerned not only for his own understanding, but for the understanding of all mankind. So Arjuna, out of his mercy, because he is a Vaishnava, a devotee, is opening for the common man the understanding of the all-pervasiveness of the Supreme Lord. All-pervasive means, how is Krishna? Everywhere. How is He seen everywhere? How is He to be seen wherever we look? He addresses Krishna specifically as Yogin, Because Sri Krishna is the master of the Yoga Maya energy. So you see, the word yogi, the definition, the meaning changes based on the context. So Arjuna is saying, you are the master of Yoga Maya, so you are yogi. He's master of the Yoga Maya energy by which he is covered and uncovered to the common man. The common man who has no love for Krishna cannot always think of Krishna, therefore he has to think materially. Arjuna is considering the mode of thinking of the materialistic persons of this world. The words keshu keshu cha bhaveshu refer to material nature. The word bhava means physical things. That's again, you see how Sanskrit is so flexible. In this particular, generally we know the word bhava means a feeling or an intense love or something like that. In this particular case, it's the nature of things, the nature of matter, physical things. Because materialists cannot understand Krishna spiritually, they are advised to concentrate their mind on physical things and try to see how Krishna is manifested by physical representations. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurumilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. I was born in the darkest ignorance, and my spiritual master opened my eyes with the torch of knowledge. I offer my respectful obeisances unto him. The verse says, O Krishna, O Supreme Mystic, how shall I constantly think of you, and how shall I know you? In what various forms are you to be remembered, O Supreme Personality of Godhead? In America, 4 out of 5 Americans, which is the majority of Americans, they believe in God, or they believe in some higher power. That's a big number. You would think that most people in America are so materialistic, or it's just progress, and make money. But actually, quite a big number have a strong belief that God exists. What that God is and all that, that's a separate question. But the belief is a very strong part of this country. In fact, even on the currency, you will see it, right? In God, we trust. It's official policy of the government to put on the currency. Even though there's a strong separation of church and state, but we still see it making its way into things like the currency notes, and the president addresses the country, right? He has the State of the Union, and he says, God bless America. He's open about it. He's not shy about saying that there is a God. So this country, and also around the world, more or less, most people believe that God exists, or there's some sort of higher power. Now, there's a famous Western philosopher by the name of C.S. Lewis. He also wrote quite a few famous books. And he says that I want God, not my idea of God. It's very interesting. It's a very provoking question. What does that question even mean? Or what does the statement mean? A lot of people think that, if you believe God is that way, then for you that is God. But here this question is interesting. He said, I don't want the God that is the product of my own imagination, product of, or a composite of my own experiences. I want the actual God. I want God, actually. That's an interesting concept, that there is possible that there is God who exists outside our conception of Him. Because if you remember the previous slide, the Americans, they're thinking, okay, I believe. And also we'll see, even in our Hindu circles or in Christian circles or many traditions, they ask, what do you believe? As if somehow believing something is going to change reality. Belief is not important. Truth is what's important. So that's what this question is saying. Prabhupada said, belief is belief. It may be true, it may not be true. And truth will remain true, whether it's believed or not. You see, so, like some people say, हम भी कृष्ण में मानते हैं. मानते हैं means क्या उकार करते हो? Like मानते हैं means I believe in Krishna. What does belief do anything? You have to do something. So there's a difference between belief and action. There's a difference between belief and truth. Who is God? What is my idea of God? So what shapes our idea of God?
Through scriptures, sadhu, shastra.
Sure, that's one of them. What about other things? The general public.
Family, society.
Family, society, right? TV is a big one. You know, like when we're children, I remember when I was very young and you know, we would do a little arti in our house, and I didn't understand what was going on. I think I was maybe in kindergarten. I was trying to understand, and someone was telling me, Bhagwan is there, you know, God is there. So what is God? God is completely powerful, they can do anything. So I can just imagine from my childhood ways, you know, what is God. So I figured that he can give me as much chewing gum as I want. You know, you just think basically in terms of when you're a kid, that he has this palace is made of chocolate and chewing gum. That's what you're thinking of as a kid, right? So this childhood imagination does shape our concept of God in a big way sometimes. It's true. And then, even as we grow up and we become more sophisticated in understanding how the world works, sometimes our childhood impressions of God do last quite a while, you know. Our life experiences shape our concept of God as well, isn't it? You can see there's a little boy, little girl, they're playing with balloons as the first stage in life, and then they grow up a little bit older and they realize, you know, okay, so they find somebody and then they get engaged, they get married in the middle, then you can see they're growing older, as they get older, and then eventually one of them passes away, and then both of them pass away, and all the leaves of the tree are also gone, basically. So this is the effect of time, and we see what happens, right? And depending on how we went through these stages, and how rough things were, or how nice things were, we also shape our impression of God. Especially if we believe that God plays a role in our lives. You know, oh God, you're so kind, everything worked out really nice. Oh God, why are you so hard on me? The wedding cake, oh my goodness, you completely melted. You know, how can you be so mean to me? I did so much bhakti to you and the wedding cake was a failure. You know, so little things like that. So we shape our consciousness of God, our perception of God, and what happens to our life, depending on how we think God is involved in our life. So these are different things that shape our concept of God. And like Prabhu was saying, organized religion. Right? So there's different religions here, if you can identify them. So the first one on the left is what? The cross. That's supposed to be Christianity. Then we have Pakistanism. Islam. So there's Christianity, there's Pakistan flag, Islam. But I think that's, and then I don't know the other one. Right? Yeah, the Far Eastern symbol, the black one. That's the. Okay, anyway, it's one of the religions. And then there's Buddhism, I think that's the wheel, right? I think Buddhism is the wheel of Ashoka. And you got Judaism, Sikhism, and the Hinduism, and the Yin Yang, which is probably either Zen or Shinto, one of those four. Anyway, organized religions, right? They have their books, their scriptures, and we use them to shape our concept of God. Because they have, you know, their tenets. And then there's also disorganized religion. Less institution, more awakening. You just hang out with each other and figure whatever you believe is right for you is also good for me. Basically, you just have to go to the beach and laugh. So that's disorganized religion, because that's important to be happy and let each other live. And that's also a form of religion, because we acknowledge each other's concepts of God and we embrace a universality. You know, it doesn't matter what you believe. So that's a different way of shaping. Then another way we can shape our concept of who God is, what God is mental speculation. Just sit down and think about it. And we see this term, mental speculation, come up a lot in Srila Prabhupada's books, right? Mental speculators. What is wrong with mental speculation?
It does not depend on real knowledge, just by the mind. It is just your own conception.
Right. It's just the mind's own concoction or conception. It's not necessarily based on anything authoritative, right? It's your own speculation, and the speculation is limited because humans have certain limitations. We misperceive things, we make mistakes. We see things that are not there. We don't see things that are there, even with our own eyes, right? So there's so many limitations to our own experience. And then we formulate and combine all those experiences from what we've heard, what we have seen, what we've experienced, and then our own production of concoctions. And we come up with the concept of God, or what God is and how God relates to us. So, who is God? What is the concept of God? What is the nature of God? Right? Maybe we might see God as someone who's just running the whole show with all these multiple arms. And so this is like some kind of someone's concoction of what God might be. Right? Because God is all powerful and He's running everything. And maybe if He's a person, He probably looks like this. Or maybe He looks like this guy here, who's a king and He created the earth. And when He sees how people are behaving, His hair turns white. Or something, so I mean, we can just see, these are people's concepts of what God is, right? It's like a king, He passes judgment, he sees His children, makes sure everyone's taken care of, He makes sure that they have enough food to eat, and if they need something, they approach Him, if they're being bad, then they get punished. Or God is not a person, God is a light, or energy, or a cloud of gas, or something something that is not a person, something impersonal. I remember when I was in Philadelphia, I used to go to a temple, to the ISKCON temple, and once one lady, she also came and she said, "Oh, God is not a person, God is just energy." She said, "Why are you limiting God with a form? You're limiting God. When you put a form, that's a limitation. God is just energy." So I asked her, if you want to limit something, what word do you use? You use the word just. Oh, it's just some guy. Oh, it's just you. You use the word just to describe the Supreme. And you say He's just energy. You are the one limiting God. The moment you say just, you are cutting out a possibility of something else. So God is both a person and energy. Not just energy. So you cut off half of it, who's doing the limiting? You are the one doing the limiting. You see, so that conception of what is limited, what is unlimited is flawed. And it's revealed in their own words. You see, think of the word just. So I told her, think more deeply. When you use the word just, you are not being just to God. Because you're limiting God. God is absolute. And God is unlimited. So form is not what limits Him. It's denying Him something is what limits Him. But still, a lot of people believe in this, and it doesn't matter what tradition one is from, whether one is a Hindu, Muslim, Christian, this idea of impersonal absolute is very prevalent and quite malignant. And I use the term malignant because it's offensive. It grows very quickly and it's offensive because it denies the Lord His more intimate personhood. And if you look at Srila Prabhupada's books, every fourth line, Srila Prabhupada is blasting impersonalism. I mean, all the time, right? You can't turn a page without seeing how Prabhupada is showing his disdain for impersonalists, because it is offensive to the Lord at every step. But still, the concept of an existence of a higher power is there. At least that much is given. The impersonalists are transcendentalists. They accept that there is a higher power than this platform of materialism. So that's one other concept of God. So we can describe God and pray to Him and see Him as someone who's maybe authoritarian. Like He's He's the main authority, and we look at Him like that king image we saw. He's very benevolent. Benevolent means someone who takes care of me, who cares about me. Or very critical. He's constantly judging me. Maybe He's criticizing me all the time, and I'm always ashamed because of the way He looks at me, the way He thinks about me. Or we may see Him as distant. That He is there in His world, we are here in our world. He has His life, I have my life. He has somehow created this universe and He's left it to spin out of control, whatever. And we don't really have much of a relationship. And this can happen also, even in our own lives, right? We can be very close friends with someone for a while and then they move away very far and then they become very distant, and the relationship also becomes distant. So someone may see God as a distant person, or very advanced people will see God as an intimate friend, intimate person, right? So there are different ways of seeing God. So Krishna is asked by Arjuna, "Oh Krishna, a supreme mystic, how shall I constantly think of you? How shall I know you? In what various forms are you to be remembered, O Supreme Personality of Godhead? Keshu keshu cha bhaveshu." And in the purport, you remember what does Prabhupada focus on? He says this question is meant for who? Common men and the materialists and the demonic people. But generally the materialists who cannot fathom anything beyond what can be perceived physically. Right? He uses that explanation. So what are the answers that Krishna gives to this question? Krishna says, I'll tell you a few of my opulences because I don't have enough time to tell you all of them. It's impossible because they're unlimited, but I'll just give you some hints. So he says, of the lights, I am the radiant sun. Once someone asked Prabhupada, Swamiji, have you seen God? And Prabhupada said, I have seen. You have also seen. Have you seen the sun? Krishna says, I am the sun. Yeah, but that's just the sun. No. Krishna says, I am the sun. You have seen, I have seen. You may not recognize, or you may recognize. Recognition is a different issue. So failure to recognize is the problem, not seeing. So Krishna is available to see as Surya Narayana, the radiant sun. And if you're among those people who like to sleep during the day and you don't even see the sun, well, then there's the moon. Among stars, I am the moon. You're a security guard, sometimes you gotta sleep at daytime and sleep at night. What are you gonna do? You're a security guard or college student and just sleep in the daytime. Among the stars, I am the moon. First of all, the moon is not really a star as such, a common definition of star, but among the radiant things you see at night. So sometimes, I think it was yesterday, it was a full moon. It was a very beautiful day before yesterday. It was so beautiful, it looked just like this. And you just can't help but just looking at it. And this is one of the ways we can remember Krishna. Krishna said, I'm the taste of water, I'm the light of the sun and the moon. So these are the different ways that if by chance we're forgetting Krishna, when we see the moon, at least use that as a springboard to dive into the thoughts of Krishna. Or the sun. You see the sunrise, it's quite captivating. Also, he says, among demigods, I am Indra. Indra, right? He's riding his elephant known as Airavat. And among Rudras, I am Lord Shiva. So Lord Shiva is doing his Rudra dance. When he does the dance, what is he doing actually? He destroys the universe, right? Hopefully we won't be seeing that anytime soon. But among Rudras, I am Lord Shiva. So Krishna says, this is me. I am Indra. And has anybody seen Indra? No, right? Not really. But we see the effects of Lord Indra. Rain and also lightning and thunder, right? You see the lightning is quite impressive. If you've seen lightning actually happen, it's quite impressive. Especially just, I think, a couple of days in the middle of the night, there's a really loud thunder. It's way up in the sky. And I woke up, it was like 3 o'clock. And just incredible. And you can see Lord Indra is, pull out his thunderbolt. So these are some of the ways we can see Krishna. He lists dozens of them. I'm not going to go through all of them. Of vibrations and the transcendental? Om. Om is found in all the mantras, all the Vedic hymns. That is Krishna. He's a sound representation of Krishna. It's Omkar. Of immovable things, I am the Himalayas. Himalaya cannot be moved. It's interesting, right? Of all things you choose Himalaya because we can see that it's so massive. So these are the things that capture our imagination. And Krishna is saying, look, the whole purpose of your imagination is to be absorbed in me. So if anything that captures the imagination like that, the best part of that is me. Just recognize that. So what does Srila Prabhupada say in the purport? I'm just going to review it again. The superior devotee is concerned not only for his own understanding, but for the understanding of all mankind. So Arjuna, out of his mercy, because he is a Vaishnava devotee, is opening for the common man the understanding of the all-pervasiveness of the Supreme Lord. So, this information is meant for those who are materialists. So what of those who are already practicing to be devotees, right? So if you start from the very beginning, when you don't even accept God, just merely accepting God is the start of knowledge. Just coming to the point that there is a God or a higher power. There's also a famous saying that fear of God is the beginning of wisdom. But what is the end, the conclusion of that wisdom, the conclusion of the truth? What is that relationship with God that is way beyond this acceptance of God or fear of God? What is that? Love. Say it louder.
Love of God.
Yeah. Love of God. Love. What is love?
Selfless service. Give our heart to someone. Selfless service.
Selfless service. What is that, Prabhu? What?
Give our heart.
To give our heart to someone.
Rather than donating.
Organ donor. I put that on my license, travel license. Organ donor. Whoever receives it will get my love. It's true, it saved their life. The guy's heart was full of cholesterol because he was eating too much beef his whole life, and now I gave my heart to him. You know, because I passed away in something, you know, whatever. No, yeah. So give your heart means your attachment, your emotions, love of God, your attention, affection, gratitude. It's a relationship, right? Reciprocation. Any other words of love?
Service.
Surrender yourself. Service, right? Like I think there was a little exam for kids. I think that's some Sunday school and some Christian school, and the question was, what is love? And one kid wrote, "Baby, don't hurt me no more." There's a song like that, I think, right?
Yeah.
What is love, right? So, like, don't hurt me, no more. At least don't hurt me. Giving heart we'll talk about later. Just don't hurt me. Right? No, but love is a relationship that everyone is seeking. Actually, we all seek it. We all want affection, and we get it right from childhood. The mother loves the child, and so on. As we grow, we begin to expand the scope of our love. But the basis of all loving relationship is friendship. Friendship. So I found this acronym. It's kind of cool. What are friends? Friend will fight for you, will respect you, will include you, encourage you, need you, deserve you, and stand by you. Right? So we all want good, deep friendship. Someone who will do anything for you. This is called friend. Let me see. So, now the word friend, in English we only have one word for friend, but in Sanskrit there's quite a few words for friend. Who? Sakha, Suhrid. Or if you are Gujarati, you say Shruhud. We have one devotee, his name is Shruhud. It means a real heartfelt friend. The highest caliber of friendship is Suhrid, actually. Mitra means a social friend. Bandhu means official friend. But Suhrid means one of these, who will fight for you, who will respect you, who wants the best for you, who is your ever well-wisher. So let me see, I was going to play a clip, but somehow this technical is not working. So I'll see if this picks it up. Play here.
Where's the speaker?
Where's the speaker?
Where is it? In the front.
Oh, it's probably not going to work. Alright. But what I can do, yeah, but it's very soft and the mic is not picking it up. That's fine. What I'll do is I'll just, it's all in the slide as well, so I'll just read it out. So Krishna says that I am Suhridam Sarva Bhutanam. Suhrid means he's such a friend. Just like you've got a friend. Sincerely he wants how you shall be happy. Just like your mother. Mother is also a friend. Remember, see, this is the interesting point Prabhupada is making. That friendship is a very core part of all relationships. Even the mother. Mother is also a friend. Or wife, devoted wife. She's also a friend. So mother, wife, or any such relative. Or father. Or there are many persons in our ordinary relationships. So they want actually that my friend, this friend, be happy. That is real friends, Suhrit. And Mitra is social friendship. Bandhu is official friendship. But Suhrit means one who actually desires good of his friend. Sincere friend, which you describe in English. So Krishna is Suhrit. He is always expecting my good. How I shall be good. Therefore he is canvassing me. Please, you surrender unto me, just like Father says, my dear boy, why are you acting independently? Foolishly, you are suffering. Just surrender unto me. I shall give you protection. Similarly, Krishna is friend like that. He's always asking. He's going with me in any type of body. Think of this. He doesn't leave us, right? Even if I get the body of a dog, Krishna is always there with me. That is stated in Bhagavad Gita. Ishvara sarvabhutanam hrideshe arjuna tishtati. Ishvara, the Supreme Lord, is staying within the heart of every living entity. So every living entity means He is staying even with the cats, dogs, hogs, or any lower type of animal. He has no hesitation because He is not living with him. He is living in Vaikuntha. But He is so friendly that wherever this friend is going, He is also going there. He is with him as Paramatma. He is doing friendly activities. And then other ways that Krishna goes, He's sending His bona fide servant, a spiritual master. He's coming as incarnation. He's coming as devotee, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu here on the altar. He's coming as a devotee. He's helping us in so many ways. But we are so foolish, we are not accepting Him. You see? Nobody can be better friend than Krishna. But we are so much unfortunate, so much captivated by the external energy that we don't accept Krishna as friend. We accept so many other things as friend, but not Krishna. Right? Even Chaitanya Mahaprabhu expresses this mood. Durdevam idesham ihajani na anuraga. That look at my misfortune, the same misfortune. That Krishna, you have given these holy names, which is no hard and fast rules, but look at my misfortune, Durdevam, that I have no attachment for them. So Krishna, you're such a close friend. You are hanging out with me in the heart, even though my heart is full of so much contamination, even though I'm living in the gutter as a hog, or it doesn't matter where I'm living, you're always there with me. What kind of friend is that? Who's always going to be by your side through thick and thin? He's always there. Nobody can be better friend than Krishna. But we are so much unfortunate, so much captivated by the external energy that we don't accept Krishna as friend. That's what Srila Prabhupada is saying. In this lecture was given in 1968 in Seattle. You can look it up. 1968 in Seattle, Bhagavad Gita chapter 2, verse 19. If you look it up, it's a very nice lecture. I really wanted to have you hear it because he has so much emotion. You can see how Srila Prabhupada, when you hear this lecture, he is feeling this, that Krishna is our friend. You can feel it in his voice. This is the concept of God that Krishna wants us to understand. Krishna sent his representative to understand that we don't need to conceptualize how God is toward us. We can see very clearly from so many angles. So we can ask ourselves, how is my relationship with Krishna? Those of us who are practicing devotees, right? Am I allowing this notion that Krishna is constantly judging me? Am I allowing this notion that Krishna is constantly critiquing me, focusing on my faults, on my weaknesses, on my inabilities, on my offensive nature? Sometimes we do that. We get overcome by negativity. And we superimpose that negativity back on the Lord. Isn't it? It's unfair. Srila Prabhupada said, once in the Swami, when he was very young, he approached Srila Prabhupada, how should I chant? What should I think when I'm chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra? You know, in ISKCON we have these beads, and each bead we chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So each strand of beads is 108. So 108 times we do one round, and that is one unit of prayers that we offer to the Lord. So the prayer, Srila Prabhupada recommended, or the mood, or the message we should always reverberate in our heart while chanting is, oh my dear friend, oh Lord Krishna, please accept me. It's a mood of please accept me. It's that accept my service, or accept me into your fold. Allow me to serve you. Oh energy of the Lord, oh Lord, please engage me in your service. So it's a prayer, please accept me. You're my friend, you're in my heart. But what comes in our way of this relationship with Krishna? Insecurity. Insecurity, what is insecurity according to the dictionary? It's an uncertainty or anxiety about oneself. It leads to lack of confidence. Right? So one of the main causes of insecurity is a feeling of not being wanted or loved. We may even feel that God is unfair to us. It's true. When we're going through some hard times, that my Lord, I'm trying to be a devotee. I did so much for you, and look at what you did to me. You ruined this or you ruined that. You ruined my day, you ruined my week, you ruined my life, you ruined my career, you ruined my relationship, you ruined my name, everything. How can you allow this to happen? I'm your devotee. We may feel that God is unfair to us. Actually, who is being unfair? We are being unfair to God, actually. Why? The real question is, are we unfair to God? By blaming Him for the consequences of our poor choices. Krishna told us, you put your hand in the fire, you'll get burnt. In spite of that, I stick my hand in the fire and I get burnt and I blame God. It's a crude example, but that's basically what we end up doing. You know, we end up blaming the Lord for things that we have put upon ourselves. So when we then superimpose this image of a harsh, sadistic ruler who probably enjoys seeing us, suffer, it is very unfair to him. Why? Because he is Suhrida Sarvabhutanam. Which verse is that? Chapter 15?
29.
Verse 29. How does that go? Bhoktaram Suhridam Sarvabhutanam Yatamam Shantim Richati. Shanti is what everyone's looking for, the peace. And how will that peace come about? When we recognize Krishna as Suhrid. If we keep superimposing this idea of someone who is not Suhrid on Krishna, that Shanti will not come. Suhridam Sarvabhutanam Gyatva Mam. You must know, Gyatva, know me to be Suhrid. Don't forget that I'm your closest friend. Don't forget that I love you more than you can even imagine. This is Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. He says, among all the inconceivable potencies of Krishna, the most powerful one. What is the powerful one? Not his ability to lift the Govardhan. The most powerful one is his affection for his devotees, called Bhakta Vatsalya. The most powerful feature of Krishna is not the fact that billions of universes come out of his pores, or the fact that he can crush a planet within 1 second. That is not his power. His most powerful feature is his affection for his devotees, Bhakta Vatsalya. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur calls this quality of Krishna as the crest jewel of all the infinite good qualities he possesses. And we see it in his charitra, we see it in his actions, we see it in his nature, how beautifully he exhibits this Bhakta Vatsalya. He's very kind. We know the story of Putana. Putana was a witch who was sent to kill Krishna when he was a baby, to poison him, breastfeeding him with poison. What did he do? He ended up killing her like this, but that wasn't the end of her story. The end of her story was that she actually ended up going straight to Goloka Vrindavan, where Krishna was performing his performance past and eternally, and she's practically elevated to the level of Yashoda Mai as one of her servants, one of the intimate mothers of Krishna. Can you imagine that she gets to be a mother to Krishna eternally? Why? This verse is found in the 10th canto, 14th chapter. It's a prayer by Lord Brahma to Krishna. It's one of my favorite verses. Lord Brahma says, Lord Brahma was confused. Remember, he got Brahma Vimohan. He tried to kidnap Krishna, and Krishna's friends and the cows, and he thought he would confuse Krishna. But he himself became confused. So then finally, when he came to his senses and recognized this is the Lord, he offered some prayers to seek forgiveness. And he expresses, my Lord, my mind becomes bewildered just trying to think of what reward other than you could be found anywhere. You are the embodiment of all benedictions, for which you bestow upon the residents of this coward community of Vrindavan. The Sanskrit of this goes like this. I think it's nice to hear the Sanskrit. This is Canto 10, chapter 14, verse number 35, if you're interested. Esham Ghosha Nivasinam Uta Bhavan Kim Devarate Tinash Cheto Vishva Phalat Phalam Tvadaparam Kutrapyayan Muhyati Sadveshadiha Putanapi Sakula Yaneva Deva Pita Yadhamat Suhrit Priyatmatanaya Pranashraya Svatkrite. In this also the word Suhrit is there. Suhrit Priyatmatanaya Pranashraya Svatkrite. Sadveshad Iva Putanapi Sakula. Sadvesh. So what is that? You have already arranged to give yourself to Putana and her family members. Not just Putana, whole family gets benefit. In exchange for what? For her disguising herself as a devotee, not practicing devotee. Sadvesh, just wearing the clothes of a devotee. Sad means, like we have satsang, so sadvesh, wearing the clothes you would go for Bhakti Rich. Just pretending to go to satsang, wearing that clothes. For doing those clothes, putting on those proper clothes only, you gave yourself to her, and not just that, you give an extra benefit that even her family members can go on the same passport, basically, What is left for you to give these devotees of Vrindavan, whose homes, wealth, friends, dear relations, bodies, children, and very lives and hearts are all dedicated only to you? This is the verse called the super mercy of the Lord. So Lord Brahma is saying that you have already bankrupted yourself. You gave everything to Putana. What have you left to give these devotees who have given everything to you? You see, very beautiful, poetic. But this emphasizes Krishna's Bhakta Vatsalya. And what we need to do is remember this again and again, because it will help us accelerate our affection towards Krishna, our sense of soft-heartedness towards the Lord, because that's what he's seeking as well. In Bhagavad Gita he says, Bhakto sime sakha cheti. So because you are my devotee and my friend Sakha, I'm telling you all this. So we have to develop this sense of friendship towards the Lord. Now friendship means what? Not just that, okay, I'm your friend, you're my friend, and on Facebook we know each other. Before Facebook came, the word friend was only a noun. Then it became a verb. Oh, why don't you friend me? To friend somebody, it became a verb. Anyway, but being the Facebook friend is not enough. Friend means service, do something for somebody. So, bhakti is not just a friendship, which is superficial, it means service. So how do we serve Krishna? The key practices. Chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. You can chant in a group like this, Sankirtan, like we were doing during Aarti, and you will also want to chant Japa privately to have a one-on-one quality time with the holy name. Also, another key practice, offer everything we eat to Krishna. We only offer pure vegetarian items. Very easy to offer. You can just place them in front of a picture of Krishna and say, chant Hare Krishna and ask him to accept the offering. And then you take the remnant, that's called prasadam. And we want to regularly hear and read Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita. Strengthens our taste for Krishna and our understanding of the Lord. And of course, you can visit our temple regularly, as often as you can. If you can't come daily, you can come at least on Sundays for this program. And of course, let us base our whole life perspective on this one reality. Let's not get distracted by our weaknesses and our distractions. Krishna is our well-wishing friend. Suhrit. A well-wishing friend means someone who really, really, really cares for us. And then we practice on the foundation of this understanding. You think Krishna doesn't understand the challenges we go through? You think Krishna doesn't understand how the modes work on our mind? He created the modes. You think he doesn't understand our weaknesses and our strengths? You think he doesn't understand our motivations? You think he doesn't understand how sincere or insincere we are? We don't need to tell him these things. But it's nice if we can try to open up with him. He understands exactly how things work. He understands how other people work. He understands how people interact with each other. He understands everything. In spite of all these challenges, the foundation of his feeling toward us is what? Suhrid. Compassion. So all we need to do is just show some willingness, a little bit of willingness to turn to him, and he will take 1,000 steps toward us with our 1 step toward him. He wants this even more than we do. We are the ones who have turned away from him. He never turned away from us because he's still in our heart. We just have to look inside. Thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki Hare Krishna. Maybe one question? Yes, now let's go.
So when we see Krishna as a friend, then sometimes we can have this. Sometimes a conception can creep in that you can become over familiar or something, and then so there's a balance that needs to be struck, like with having Krishna as seeing him as God and as our and also as seeing him as a friend. So how do we strike that balance? Because we should see him as God as well, but it also, you're saying, he's our friend as well. So the way I treat my friends is very, informal and very like that, but we should be careful how we, so if you could shed some light on that.
So the question was that sometimes, because the nature of friendship, because we emphasize the friend in today's class, the nature of friendship is to be too familiar. Also we can be, we not develop the proper amount of respect that's needed for the relationship to be proper. Right? Or like it could be, how do you strike the balance between giving the proper amount of respect to the Supreme Lord at the same time, not cross the line. Right? Even Arjuna in the beginning of Bhagavad Gita, he says that, actually even after the universal form, he regrets, oh my Lord, I called you like my friend and my buddy, we used to sit on the same bed together, I'm so sorry, I feel so sad about it. Right? So why did he feel bad about it? He felt that he had crossed the line, even though that's his eternal position. So that's a very good question. How can we not allow this cheapness? Maybe we can take Krishna too cheaply if we focus so much on the friendliness aspect of it, right? So the concept that we are focusing on in this class, and the point that we are making is to counter the negativity that we may impose on Krishna, that he's actually not friendly toward us. You see, the point was not that we should treat Krishna as our buddy. The point of this is to see how is Krishna seeing me? How is his mood toward me? And am I being fair by painting an image of him as a harsh dictator or an unfair person? No. His feeling toward us is as soft as a friend who really, really cares for us. Now that doesn't mean that when we practice our Krishna conscious process, that we can now jump on the shoulders of the deity and say, let's go for a ride. Because that's what friends do, right? We can't do that. Why? Because we're not at the level of purification to actually do that, right? If your eternal relationship with Krishna is as a friend, but when the process of Vaidhi Bhakti is being performed, Vaidhi Bhakti means the process of serving Krishna through the step-by-step process of chanting, hearing, and all that. That process requires a feeling of awe and reverence, actually. Now, one may say, wait a minute, the feeling of awe and reverence is reserved for Vaikuntha, but Golok is even more intimate, even more higher, say like Radha Krishna, for example, with his Madhurya Ras, his romantic, or the friendship between the cowherd boys and like Krishna Balaram, like that picture we saw. So how can we enter into that intimacy while still keeping this mood of awe and reverence? So Bhakti Charumaj explains very nicely the resolution to that dilemma. That why should I I mean, if the idea of being the highest with Krishna is to be intimate like that, why should not just go straight to that? Because we are not purified to that, but we can still enter into the pastimes of Krishna's intimate association. How? Yes. The key, the gate to Goloka passes to the awe and reverential worship of lotus feet of Gaur Nitai, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is Radha Krishna himself. But he allows us to get very, very close to that concept of Radha Krishna by worshipping his lotus feet, even at a very, very neophyte level. Just getting somehow involved in worshipping him with respect, so we'll never ever cross that border of familiarity or becoming too familiar, because he has given the process of how to do it step by step while maintaining respect at all times, and at the same time it uncovers and reveals to us our eternal intimate relationship with Krishna. So that is the key. So yes, the process is available. We won't be shut out of the intimacy of Krishna, but we have to follow the process as outlined by Mahaprabhu and taught to us by his disciples and all the way down to Srila Prabhupada. That answer your question? Thank you. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki.